Alright guys, in today's video we're going to tackle the RF roof controller module by MX5 Things so your car can do this. In this video I'll show you how to set it up, install it, and give you an overview of what the product does. So stick around and I'll walk you through the whole process. So one of the problems that the RF roof controller tackles is the operation of the switch. I've had this car for almost over a year now, and I've gotten used to the button up for open, down for close. I know this bothers some people, especially those that just pick up the car. So the roof controller does allow you to switch the direction of the button. So if you want to close your roof, you can push it up, or if you want to open it, you can push it down. So it allows you to flip this. The biggest thing too for a lot of people is that when you open the roof, you have to click and hold everything while it goes. But as soon as you let go of the button, it does stop the roof operation. The controller does allow you to turn this into a one-touch operation, so you can just click it once and it will operate the roof completely for you. Another issue the roof controller tackles is if you're trying to open your roof while going in reverse, it disables it. So retractable hard top disabled, reverse gear selected. So it won't allow you to open your roof up while you're backing out. So if you're backing out of your driveway in the morning or wherever and you're just trying to get the roof going so it's ready by the time you start going forward, that's another thing that the roof controller can bypass to allow you to open the roof while going in reverse. And finally, one of the biggest reasons I think a lot of us end up doing this mod is because if you try to open up your roof going faster than 7 miles an hour, it's just painfully slow. Like, I haven't even left this parking lot yet and it's still already yelling at me. So let's go ahead and head back home, and we'll start at the office with the controller, and then we'll show you step by step how to install the controller. Okay, so we're in the office now with the RF roof controller. This will allow you to access the control module via USB through your computer. It does have a bunch of default settings. However, some people want to switch stuff around, personalize it. So by accessing the control module, you have the option of changing the speed up to 30 miles an hour at which the top opens. So if you want to make it less, just to kind of safeguard yourself from opening it too fast. If you don't like the way the button functions on the car, if you want to reverse the direction of up and down, you can do that with the controller. And also, if you are doing the key fob mob to open and close the roof with your key fob, you can actually go in there and set it to either 1 click, 2 click, or 3 clicks. It's all really personal preference, but I figured since we're here, I'll go ahead and show you really quick how to do all that. So go ahead and grab your USB cable that came included with the kit. USB port is on the back. Just want to go ahead and plug the smaller end into the back of the unit, and then just take your USB-A and plug it into your computer. As soon as you plug it in, the little red light will turn on and give you access to all the settings. But before we do that, we got to download the software, so I'll switch over to the screen and walk you through how to get all that set up. Okay, so here we are at the computer. Once you plug in the RF roof controller module into USB port on the computer, you'll get a little pop-up, at least in the case of my Windows computer, saying it's trying to find the drivers to make everything work. Just leave that be and it'll automatically find the drivers to make everything work. So while you're waiting, you can go ahead and go to the MX5Things.com website. Make your way to the RF product catalog and scroll down to the roof controller. On the roof controller page, you'll find the latest applications to make everything work. So right here, you want to go ahead and click on this little button. It's kind of hidden. It says page, but that's where it's hiding. This could change too if they ever decide to update it, but just know that the software is on the product page itself. You have a choice of the Windows or the Apple. In our case, we're on a Windows computer, so we'll go ahead and take version 1.2 of the configuration software. We'll download it and open it up. Once we're here, I noticed that you have a choice of COM1 or COM3. Just click connect. I didn't find anything, but I noticed that if I click COM3, it brings everything up. You know everything's working when all the kind of panels here light up and it gives you the option to switch around. So you can change individual settings between your first key fob and the second key fob. One touch normal means that it retains the factory direction of the button, but it allows you to do it with one touch. In my case, I've gotten used to it, so I want to go ahead and switch these over to the one touch normal. Disable one touch, so this is just a standard where you have to hold the button to open up the roofs. If you want to flip the direction of the switch, you'll click down here. And if you just completely want to kill the button, essentially if you're giving this up for valet mode, you'll just click here and it turns off the option to use the switch at all. So I want to go ahead and do one touch normal. And then since we are also doing the key fob installation to make the mod work with everything, I want to go ahead and leave it on 3 clicks because I want 2 clicks to be to open and close the window and then 3 clicks for the roof. And if you want to change your speed limit that allows the roof to open, it taps out at 30 miles an hour, but you can change it essentially to whatever you want. My case, I'll play it safe. Let's go with 20, let's go with 25 and see how that goes. Once you're done with everything, you don't have to save it. It automatically updates. All you hit is close. You can go ahead and unplug the USB device and it's set to go. Okay guys, so here we are at the car, and the first thing we want to do before we start anything, we want to go ahead and disconnect the battery. So let's go ahead and start there. Okay, take 2. So the first thing you want to do is open your roof and lower your windows and then disconnect the battery, because you can't do either of those things if your battery is not connected. So learn from my mistake. Roof and windows first, then the battery, and let's go ahead and tackle the first step in, well, technically the second step now, of getting this controller into the car. So to get started, we'll want to go ahead and get the seat up and out of the way because we'll be accessing the back panel that's here. So we'll push that forward and bring the seat all the way up. You have to remove this sill panel here first. Essentially just grab it on opposite end and it pulls straight up. And out of the way. So we'll get that out of the way. Once you get the door sill out of the way, we'll switch over to the back panel that needs to come out. So these rivets need to come out. So the instructions only has 4. We have 5 in our particular case. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that need to pop out. So go ahead and get a small flathead screwdriver or a pick and we'll pop those out real quick. Okay, so to pop these guys out, just get a small flathead screwdriver. You want to get and get the screwdriver behind there, pop out the centerpiece, and then there's a bigger, I guess, ring outside. That also pops out. So it's kind of tight in there. If you pull out the center bit, don't worry too much, as they just kind of pop back in place. So there's one. This is kind of what they look like. So when you pull out the center core, it opens this up, allowing you to pull it out. So let's pull these out. There's 1. There's 2. Try to stay out of the camera, but all right, 3. And this bottom one isn't like the other ones. It doesn't have that center core. It should just pop straight out. Yep. That last one is just a flat one piece. Okay, so once you have the rivets out, this piece right here is the one that's coming out. It's a little bit bigger than just this. It's this first section right here. So this guy. So what you want to do is get back in here and pull up a little bit. Okay. A little more dramatic than I wanted to. So that'll pop it out of place. So you're pulling forward, like towards the car. So take the left corner and pull it forward, and then this will pop out. Hopefully not dramatically. And then you want to go down and then forward. So you're kind of scooping it out. I guess you can just shimmy it out of the way. And that comes out like that. Okay. So in our case, this little metal bracket piece, retaining clip came out. This one stayed in, so just kind of match it and just push it back into place. There you go. And in true MX5 fashion, there's not a lot of space to work with. So essentially we have to pull this guy back, and we're working up in here. As you can tell, the seatbelt's in the way. If you want to remove it, you essentially just have to work it out. So you just go out and around through the little slit. And that can come out of the way. I just kind of put it outside of the car. So as you can see, it's just out of the way and it gives you that clearance to work. Okay, so once we have the little plastic rivets out, you want to go ahead and lift this lower corner here to gain access to the roofing control panel, I guess. So this metal bracket right here needs to come out, and back there, so this metal bracket, and right up there, there's a metal bolt that needs to come out. So 10mm socket, that bolt comes out, and this will swing out of the way. Okay, so I started working on that nut that's on there, so you can get your 10mm socket on it. Hopefully you can see that, and that should let you be able to pull it out. This panel thing is going to be in this panel right here. It's going to be in the way constantly. I've noticed that once you get the socket in there, kind of push it towards the center, and this will flex kind of like a bubble outwards, giving you the space to do that. So it's kind of hard for me to hold this out of the way while doing that nut. So let me unscrew that really quick and we'll show you the next step. Also, these clips that I popped out accidentally earlier are super sharp. So what I started doing, I just finagled a towel under here to protect you from that, because these guys, I don't know what it is, it's got like metal prongs or something. They're super sharp, so just cover those to kind of not scratch your arm up like I did. So let me get that bolt out and we'll show you the next step. All right, so once you get the nut off, put it somewhere safe. This metal cover flap comes off. It's on a stud right here, so it just pops off. And then you're gonna have to flip it 180 degrees, so you kind of have to force it around. I've learned that if you push, there we go. If you can get your hand underneath and just rotate it, there you go. So that will get that panel down and out of the way, and then we're left with this plastic cover. And if we flip this up like that, that is the pins that we gotta get to, and it's these two that have gotta come out. Okay, so once we have the connectors exposed, just push on the middle of the tab and pull. Make sure not to pull on the actual wiring, but pull on the head of the thing. So just pull one out. We need the blue one and the white one back here. So same deal. Push and pull, and that will expose these two guys. And this is what we connect the controller to. Okay, so we'll get the wiring harness. It looks like the blue goes into the smaller one and then the white into the bigger one. So let's line these guys up. Remember, always go until you hear the click. Same with the other guy. Push until we hear the mechanic. Once you have the cables from the RF controller plugged in to the module, we'll go ahead and take the actual cables from the controller and plug these back into the car. So the bigger one is going to go into the white, and the smaller one is going to go into the blue. So once again, just go until you hear a click, which you did not hear. We'll double check it here in a second. And then the blue one will go all the way into. Okay, neither of these clicked, but they seem pretty solid. Okay, so I double checked. These guys don't click when you push them in, but they're very secured in there. Like they're not going anywhere. So just double check them, pull on them, tug on them, make sure everything's set, but that's okay. So the next step is to reconnect the battery, and if we did this correctly, the controller should start blinking. So let's try that really quick. All right, so we put the battery back in and we have a red power light, so that means everything is good to go. Let's go ahead and tidy this up and we'll test it out here in a few. Okay, so the best way I found to shove everything is try to get the wiring harness between the second and the third plug. There seems to be a little bit more of a gap. and then get the USB control box underneath the flap. So we'll go ahead and close this guy, and then we gotta flip this guy. Let go, Julie. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, pull. So this guy flips back in place. Oh, but it tends to get stuck on that little pull-out thing. Okay, that's the tab I was talking about. This flippy guy tends to get stuck on here. So just kind of recorrect everything, and then, like I said, the USB will be under that. We'll get this guy down here, and this guy just needs to go back on his post. Alright, so that puts everything back in place, and then we just got to take that 10mm nut we took off earlier and put it back in place, and that will secure everything. So this I need 2 hands for, so let me just put that on really quick. So here we are, the nut's back on. It's not tightened down yet, but I'll get to that here in a second. So just hand tighten it and then finish it off with your socket or your wrench. And then I found that you can kind of make a little shelf where you can tuck the controller down here, and then the USB cable stays connected and it feeds out behind the seat in case you ever have to update or change settings, or if MX5 Things releases any new updates, you can have easy access to that. So there's that bit. Okay, so the whole control module is in place. All the wiring's kind of tucked back in here. Before you seal everything up, reconnect the battery and check the roof. The first time I tested it out, I did get the roof malfunction. I'm not sure why, like the roof kind of partially opened up. It only ran for like 2 or 3 seconds before it stopped and shut down. I kind of disconnected the battery and kind of just unplugged everything and plugged everything back in. I guess I had a loose connection somewhere. But double check before you seal everything. Also, another big thing, make sure your seat is back in place before you test the roof. Obviously, I sat in the passenger seat and tested it. And the second time that it worked, I actually ended up jamming the roof because the seat got in the way and it got stuck. So that was a process trying to release the seat and giving the roof another chance to reset itself. But everything is working, so let's go ahead and put everything back together. As I mentioned, you want to leave the USB cable sticking out here to kind of protect it. I have a little USB cover that I got from some other device that you can just put on there. Okay, so to put everything back together, we just got to tackle it in reverse. So make sure everything's kind of flushed in here, none of the cables are in the way. Same with when we get to this guy, just remember it's got to go up and then forward. Be careful with these guys, they are razor sharp. Also, there is a small, I guess, flap on this side, and that's essentially what we need to make sure falls into this. So try your best to line it up with this. I've kind of figured out that's the best approach. So line everything up, get this lip in first, kind of push it up, line it up with the hole, and then you're going to try to get that flap that I just showed you lined up onto the left side of the clip, and it should clip in, and like it'll grab, so you'll feel it. So with the bottom one, kind of just finagle it, and once it's in, you'll know. Push it forward, and then everything kind of just lines up, and you just push. The holes will pretty much tell you where to put everything. And down here, I know you probably couldn't see it, there is like a pointy bit that sticks out, so that just drops right into the hole, and then we'll get the rivets and put them back where they were. Okay, so remember the big rivet without the little pull-out plug is the big one for the bottom here, so that just pushes right in. Then we have 3 big rivets that'll go up here. So 1, and you push it in. So when these guys are going in, you just want to back them out a little bit, and then once you get them in there, you push in the center to drop it down and lock it in place. There's number 2. And we have the 3rd one. And then I think this one is a little, can't tell if it looks a little smaller than the other ones, but Could be the same size. That one goes right in here. Same thing. So you get the first rivet in, and then you just push it in to seal it. And then we go to the lower panel. So as I said, this kind of all push this lines up in place. And you grab your door molding with the pointy ends out. And you just kind of drop it in place. Push, push, push everywhere, and just check everything. And there you go. Everything is all tidied up. And you pretty much can tell. And then we just have the cable sticking out down here, which you can just tuck underneath and use the pressure from the panel to kind of keep it out of the way. You can pretty much tuck the whole thing in. As long as you know it's there, you can always just grab it later. And like I said, I have the little cover on it just out of redundancy, but not necessary, but if you have one, it's good to have. And there you go. Oh, and if you took your seatbelt off, just make sure to kind of get it back in there. And it just kind of goes like that. So like I said, you can pull it out. You just got to maneuver it out of the little channel. Okay, so here we are back in the car after everything's been cleaned up and put back together. We'll go ahead and test things out. I think I can get a few things out of the way. So let's go ahead and start with the reverse. So if I put it in reverse, before it wouldn't let me, so we'll go ahead. So it now allows me to open the roof in reverse. As you can tell, I let go of the button, and we have one touch operation all the way through. No one's cheating. There you go. And then the other thing I can test out while we're here, we'll put it in first and go ahead. And then we'll close the roof. So we're driving. We're past the 7 miles an hour. And the roof is closing. So hands-free, gives you both hands to do your stuff, closes the roof. Absolutely awesome mod, highly recommend it. And then if you combine it with the ignition and accessory controller, you will be able to also do it with your key fob. And as I mentioned just a little bit ago, if you did do the ignition and the accessory controller mod, which if you need help with, I do have a video on that, just check the playlist. It'll allow you now to open the roof while you're outside with your key fob. So in my case, it's 3 clicks, so 1, 2, and 3. Takes just a little bit, everything kind of cycles through the car, all the power, and then eventually it'll just do what it needs to do. So completely hands-free. If it's summer day, you want to cool off the car, get all that hot air out, this is a great way to do that. It's completely hands-free. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this video helps everyone out who's trying to attempt this. Highly recommend doing both the ignition controller and the RF roof module. Thanks for watching. So we're outside the car, and I want to just mention something. You know, Mazda does these things for a reason. You know, 7 miles an hour is not all that fast, because you got to realize the entire roof contraption is held up by these two really thin metal brackets. So you don't want the wind to start flexing, bending them. That's really the main reason why they're limited. Same thing also, if you're going fast, this thing is going to act like a sail. When I had my NA Miata, I tried opening the roof going like 35 miles an hour, and I'm pretty sure I almost ripped my shoulder out because of how fast it caught the wind and sent it back. So I do advise you do this with caution. I mean, you can even see the back glass panel and the back middle roof will act like a sail, essentially. So just be cautious when you do it. I wouldn't advise doing it only if you absolutely necessary, like if you get caught at a light, but try not to be too crazy. You know, don't go opening this up every time you're going 30 miles an hour or anything like that.